Is Alexander Volkanovski officially the featherweight GOAT? Personally, I think he is. And whether you agree or disagree with me, I think it's time to start having that conversation. Especially after this weekend, UFC 284 with Islam Makhachev. He's proven that he is built different. Like, he's quite literally proven that he has a very bright future at lightweight. He could most definitely hang with those guys. Now, I'm going to go back to the basis of this video is about him being the featherweight GOAT. So we're just going to talk about his featherweight run, of course. And when people discuss featherweight GOATs, pretty much three names come to mind. It's Jose Aldo, Max Holloway, and Alexander Volkanovski. First, I want to talk about Max Holloway. Now, I remember after he had beaten Aldo twice and then beaten Brian Ortega, if you guys recall, a lot of people are considering him as the featherweight GOAT. He's beaten the former quote-unquote GOAT, Jose Aldo, finished him twice. So everyone just was on the Bless Express pretty much. They were calling this man the GOAT. And then Volkanovski came in and just ruined everyone's plans pretty much. And one thing is apparent is that a lot of people disrespected Volkanovski. People were so quick to call Holloway the GOAT after he beaten Aldo twice. But then Volkanovski beat Holloway twice, even though there were controversial decisions. And even the third time, which was not controversial at all, he quite literally beat the shit out of my boy. Even though I hate to admit it, he completely mopped the floor with Holloway. And I really don't see a lot of people consider him as the new featherweight GOAT. Quite literally, a lot of people think Aldo's the GOAT. Now, I'm going to talk about a little bit of the resumes between Volkanovski and Jose Aldo. Now, Jose Aldo does hold the streak for the most title defenses at 7 title defenses. You could argue 9 title defenses if you include the 2 WEC title defenses, but I'm not going to include those title defenses as they were under the WEC banner. I'm just going to be talking about straight UFC defenses. Now, don't get me wrong, Aldo had a legendary run. And within his title run, he's beaten the likes of Chad Mendes, Frankie Edgar, Korean Zombie. That was all in their prime pretty much. Like, it was that era where these guys like Chad Mendes, Korean Zombie, Frankie Edgar were considered the best in the world. And then he tragically ends up losing his belt to McGregor. Then he goes on to win the interim UFC belt against Frankie Edgar again. And eventually leads up to the 2 fights with Holloway, which do not go in his favor. He gets finished both times. And that was pretty much the end of his featherweight title run. He started to have a lot of success in the bantamweight division, but we're going to be strictly talking about his featherweight run only. Now, Volkanovski's only had 4 title defenses, but on his road to the title, he had beaten Chad Mendes, and he also had beaten Jose Aldo. And then right after the Aldo fight, he got the title shot against Holloway. He ended up winning it in a controversial decision. That pretty much sparked his featherweight run. He defended it against Holloway under another controversial split decision this time. Then went on to face Brian Ortega, which he completely battered. Then after that, Korean Zombie, which he completely battered as well. And then the trilogy with Max Holloway, which he pretty much just ended their rivalry. 3-0. All 3 wins by Volkanovski. First 2 wins controversial, but you cannot say nothing about that third win. He's pretty much dominated him from start to finish, pretty much proving who the better fighter is between them. Now, another thing I wanted to mention about Volkanovski is that he's quite literally has beaten every UFC featherweight champion in history. There's only been 4 UFC featherweight champions in history, with the first one being Jose Aldo, then Conor McGregor, then Max Holloway, and then himself. But he's pretty much beaten the 2 featherweights that people had regarded as the GOATs of the division. First, Jose Aldo, of course, and then Holloway he's beaten 3 times, which I feel like that should hold a lot of weight in the GOAT debate. And another thing, this is just speculation, but it's clear and cut. After this past weekend against Islam Makhachev, I think nobody is going to touch that belt at featherweight, and he's just going to rack up more and more title defenses, which is going to strengthen the argument of him being the featherweight GOAT. If he defends it another 3 times, he ties the record, and if he defends it 4 times, he breaks the featherweight defense record. But yeah, all in all, I wholeheartedly believe that this man Alexander Volkanovski is the featherweight GOAT officially. His resume ultimately speaks for itself. The only argument against him being the featherweight GOAT is Jose Aldo and all his accomplishments, which I don't want to take nothing away from Aldo. He's a legend of the sport. His run was absolutely legendary. But what Volkanovski has done and will continue to do, I believe, so just puts him as the featherweight GOAT in my opinion. And even moving on, he's fought at lightweight once against the champion, pound for pound number 2. He did extremely well. So if he ever does decide to move up and finish out his career at lightweight and do some real damage up there, the conversation isn't even going to be about him being the featherweight GOAT. It'll be if he's the top 5 MMA fighters of all time. So what Volkanovski is doing right now is truly special. Like, you could classify him as a once in a generation type fighter. And like I've previously mentioned many times, he's going to continue doing what he's doing and really leave a lasting legacy. So those were pretty much my points on why I believe Volkanovski is the featherweight GOAT. Y'all let me know what y'all think, and I'll see you guys in my next video.